All right, all right. Hey guys, Hector here, Corpus Christi, Texas. Another Hardstyle Live. Got another awesome guest, good friend of mine, Andrea U-shi Chang. Andrea and I met probably, I think, in 2011, 2012 at what was known as a Primal Move certification in Houston. Just kind of hit it off. Her and Zara came down, and it was like just a great match right off the bat. And so Andrea is currently a master kettlebell instructor with StrongFirst. StrongFirst is the gold standard of kettlebell strength and education, and she travels the world and teaches people about strength, kettlebells, and how to be a cool person. She's also a ground force method global instructor. Again, she travels the world, teaches people, professionals, how to teach their students or even just how to move better through a systematic approach on getting stronger and moving better. And she's also the owner and founder of Kettlebelly. Kettlebelly is a school of education, and they teach strength training, kettlebells, ground force method, just tons and tons of wealth. And a lot of really high quality instructors has come out of Kettlebelly. So it's my honor to introduce Andrea. Andrea, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to hang out with us. Tell us, like, where did this all come from? We know that you didn't wake up a master instructor.
No, no.
About Andrea before all this.
Yeah, the wand of Pavel did not come down and make it happen overnight, for sure. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me on, Hector. This is really fun. And let's see, how did it all begin? I had an athletic background, meaning I played sports like most kids, played college, soccer, and club tennis forever, so USTA level tennis. And but then as an adult, after getting into my adult life, my professional life, I actually was selling real estate, and I became rather sedentary. I thought I was training, but it was big box gym type things. Go into the gym, get on some machines, do some stuff, jump on the treadmill maybe, something like that. Old school. And just over time, even if you can't have it all, right? You can't eat like you were an athlete, like you used to be, and then not be able to maintain sort of the level of fitness and what you used to be if you're not training the hours and hours and hours a day that sort of people who are in athletics do. So what happened over time in my lifestyle here in Seattle, based in Seattle at the time when I was doing real estate, it's just, 10 pounds a year for a couple years, and pretty soon you're up there, and it might be more than 10 pounds a year. And so even though I was active, I played club tennis, I went to the gym, that kind of stuff. It wasn't enough to really do what I needed to do. And so I got pretty heavy. I was up near 200 pounds. And for somebody who's 5'6.5", I could say I'm 5'7", but like 5'6.5". Give myself that half an inch. It just, I woke up one morning and I just thought to myself, wow, what happened? And this was 2 years after my son was born. And so this was probably 15 years of being heavy and sort of just incorporating that into this is who I am. I'm just a big girl, but I'm not really a big girl. And I woke up one morning and my joints were hurting, and just like, what happened? And so I took a really hard look at myself, and I was like, I need to make a change. And part of it was also that I kept getting injured playing tennis. My right shoulder had sort of destroyed itself playing tennis, serving, and just whatever, over playing, but not really training, let's say. And so I called one of my best childhood friends, Zara Horton, and was like, hey, what do I do? And he said, hey, you should go get this book. You should get this book called Power to the People by Pavel Tsatsouline, and you should do that book. It's like, all right, because take it slow, do this little kettlebell move, basically the beginning of the get up, and an R bar, and probably will help your shoulder. Oh, and by the way, have you thought about how many calories you're eating every day? And I was like, I've never calories. What do you mean? What's that? And so I started. Me and my training partner started doing Power to the People verbatim by the book, and pretty soon we were like breathing weird at the gym, and people were looking at us, and we weren't touching the machines, and we were training barefoot, and I was eating probably 4 times as much as I should for my size. Yeah. So it's amazing that I wasn't even bigger than I was. So when I started sort of dialing in my diet and nutrition, and I started training, I guess really that's the beginning of Hardstyle, is Power to the People. The weight started falling off, and I started seeing some amazing changes. And my training partner, who is an active duty firefighter, her fitness went through the roof. She was already fit, but she got stronger, more capable. She was able to get in and out of windows, get over things, carry things much easier, even with all the packs that they have to carry. And so we were pretty excited about it. And so I called up John and was like, hey, what else you got? He goes, oh, I've got these things called kettlebells. You want to try them out? And I'm like, all right, it sounds really faddish. But when I went home to visit my mom, went to him, and he taught me basically all the 6 basic kettlebell movements, clean, swing, snatch, get up, squat, press. We did some windmills and some other things. And I learned it all in 2 hours. I picked it up really fast, and it was just, like, this is it, from somebody who played soccer and had sort of a dynamic sport background. I was like, God, this is great. This feels good. So on the way home, got my first kettlebell, and then that was it. That was the beginning, and I just never looked back. And so within about 5-6 months, I had lost 50 pounds. Wow. And 50 pounds of fat, and got down, to where I am now. Gosh, I guess that's 12 years later. I stay, I'm right around 140 to 145, somewhere in there. And it changed my life. That's
awesome. So, you said, 50 pounds in 6 months. That is, first off, congratulations. That's awesome. So what do you think, obviously, I guess when people compare, because a lot of people don't think they can get a full, so were you only using the kettlebell at that time during that transformation?
Pretty much. Kettlebell, a little bit of jump rope, as active recovery as I got fitter, type of thing. But it was kettlebells and sort of dealing with diet and nutrition elements. Right. But once you start laying that groundwork for strength, your muscle mass goes up, metabolism goes up, lots of things changes, hormone cascades change. So it becomes easier and easier the more you get into it. And I was really, truly only training maybe 3 or 4 times a week. It really wasn't that crazy. So it wasn't like I was at the gym for 6 hours a day. It was 1 hour, a couple times a week, including some dietary changes. And
right. I think that's a lot of people have a hard time understanding that you can get a full, like the kettlebell can give you everything that you need if you want strength, condition, mobility. And it's a very common thing when we talk to people like yourself, where it's like, well, this is like 90% of my training is just kind of based around this like one tool, and then I'll add in some like mobility, obviously, and some rope or some stuff like that. So, so your first exposure to it obviously was through Czar, and so Power to the People. Mine was Enter the Kettlebell, which very popular book by Pavel. So tell us about, so you found the kettlebell, you're now like, man, this is it. This is, I think I found
the thing.
My thing, right? And so what did you do after that? Did you,
people started asking me a lot of questions like, hey, well, what happened to you? And I was like, oh, I'm doing this thing. It's really cool. And they're like, oh, can you help me? Can you train me? And be like, yeah, I don't know. All right, I can try. Well, I didn't feel comfortable about it. Right. And So for my 40th birthday, I gave myself the present of, as I was heading towards that, I was saying, maybe I should get certified. So I got my first kettlebell certification back in the old RKC for all of us, some of us anyways, in 2006. And so I went, and that experience, that weekend certification, kettlebell cert, was life-changing. Again, because here are all these people going to get stronger, learn some tools, and to better themselves, but also help other people. Because we're there to be instructors. We're there to take it out and share this sort of hardstyle mentality, but the principles of hardstyle training for Pavel, take it out and disseminate it into our worlds in some way. The other part of it was the teaching staff, so open-handed. Brett Jones was my team leader. Our chief instructor was my team leader. And Gray Cook, one of the founders with Lee Burton of FMS, was on my team. We were teammates on Team Jones. And, Pavel was there and a bunch of other instructors. But what I found is that as time went on, anytime I would email somebody, ask questions, I got answers. There was such open-handedness with information. It wasn't like, oh, mine. It was very share-oriented and very open-handed. And so that feeling of community was very intense. And it just made me think, wow, these are the kind of people I would like to be around. And even though I was killing it in real estate at the time, it just wasn't, I found this sort of passionate connection to what our system, the StrongFirst system, does. And it creates what I think is a set of ethics for how to train people, a set of standards from which to train from. And it helps people move better, get stronger, enjoy themselves, all that kind of stuff. And so that kind of started me out on this movement-based, get strong, feel better sort of path. And then I came back certified and started teaching people. And that just sort of grew and grew and grew.
Right. That's awesome. My first level one was 2011 RKC in La Jolla. And you were actually there, but I never met you.
Right.
Brett was there. I think Brett was the deputy, I think. Pavel was there. And there were several, really awesome people. And that same thing, I was like, wow, this is it. This is, you definitely had that community sense. Right. So now you're RKC, you come back, you're passionate, you're fired up, and man, now I can start sharing this with people.
Right.
How did that continue? So, obviously you didn't stop there, you kept going.
Right.
Talk about now that you're in RKC and you're sharing this, how did that journey to where now you're master instructor? So now you've got a wealth of responsibility.
Right.
And now you're now where Brett Jones was at teaching.
Right.
How is that transformation?
Well, I think we were lucky to come in when we did earlier in the system, of course, because there were, even though I think access is relatively easy to most people, it was even more easy back then because there weren't as many of us, for example. But I really felt passionate about the system and thought that being able to help others and teach others would be incredible. And so I just asked Brett, I said, hey, what do I do to be more involved? And he said, well, go back home, work on your skills, and I'll see you at the next workshop or certification, And so that's what I did. I took that to heart. I went home and I worked on my skills constantly. And if anybody knows me now, they know that the practice of skill first is super important to me. And for those of us who are instructors, we're held to a higher standard because we're out there teaching other people. In terms of people in my studio, we just want people to be safe and effective. Everybody comes with what they've got. And so you want them to have fun, be safe and effective. And also skill is a big part of it, but people want to move, people want to train. As long as people are safe and effective, we're going in the right direction, and skill is worked into everything. So I came back, worked on skill, and then started to host workshops because I wanted to get people, I wanted to share this knowledge from our greater community and leadership to get people to come in. And so I had brought in Kenneth J, brought in Andrew U-shi Chang, brought in Brett Jones, that type of stuff. And then I was invited to help do some things for Hobble and RKC, and was eventually invited to be a team leader. In the interim, I opened up my own studio in Seattle. It got to a point where I was teaching the park, training out of several different gyms, training out of my house, that kind of stuff. Had a small home gym, and I just realized that this was really what I really wanted to do. I wanted to create a community, create a place where people could come, and I was tired. I was tired of lugging bells around in my car. My trunk was full of, I probably carried around 25, 30 bells in my car, all different sizes. So those days were over. I found a place and opened up Kettlebell and just never looked back. Started hosting more, doing more things, trying to be a resource for people. Yeah. And I'm proud to say that we're there 7 years later, strong, still building, still trying to be the place where you can come in and learn some skilled movement patterns, get you safe doing kettlebell, but also it's a movement coaching. We do a lot of other things too.
Right. I actually had Jeff on last week, our little buddy Jeff.
Yeah, so cool.
Yeah. And he said something that, it's so true. The time that I've known you is, he said he really loved his time there with you at Kettlebell because he really learned how to become a technician. And that's the whole skill component. And one thing that I really enjoyed that you did at, I think it was my second team that I led in Portland was, I've been a part of other organizations where it's like, once you make it, you're like, okay, that's it. I don't need to continue to improve myself. Well, you pulled us to the side and said, hey, look, after we test assistants, etc., we're going to critique our own technique. And I was like, whoa, man, I got 2 masters. I've got a senior, and they're just going to pick us apart. But I think that was really cool because you're like, hey, even though we're not above the system.
No, absolutely not.
So I really like that you did that. And I like that you used the word system. So for those that have heard Andrea say the word system over and over, this is not something that's just kind of thrown together. It's literally a step-by-step. If you know the system, you can teach no matter who it is. If you learn the system, you can teach it. And it's duplicatable for every instructor. Is the way Paul created it, Brett Jones, and it kind of just goes all the way down the leadership. So I think that part is really, really awesome. So what would you tell somebody that's in your spot? So, busy female, whether she's trying to find a way out or who knows what, but she's, 50 pounds, whatever, overweight, where would you recommend they start to get healthier, to move better?
Well, there's 2 things. Well, yeah, 2 things, 2 main things, but there's a third tertiary thing that affects everything else. The first thing is you have to move more. So no matter what you're doing, you have to move your body. You can start with, simple, crazy, silly things, but simple things like parking when you go shopping way far away. Taking stairs, never taking an elevator, never taking, escalator, going for walks, those types of things. But really, you have to start loading your system, in my opinion. You have to build the muscle mass to be able to get your metabolism to start to kick in and start to work for you. Kettlebells work great for that, obviously.